You know, for those who followed boxing in the 1970s, we can easily tell you styles made fights. De Jesus Duran, Ali Frazier, and these two heavyweights were basically well known for being knockout artists. And when they met, geez, half of North America was tuning in, and half of North America came away with a big headache. Today, today we're going to be talking about maybe one of the biggest fights of 1976, if not one of the biggest non-title fights. Well, it was a North American Boxing Federation crowd, but not a world title. It's George Foreman versus Ron Lyle. This was a pro boxing match held live on ABC and across North America on January 24th, 1976, as announced by the great Howard Cosell. Now, live from Caesar's Palace, Paradise, Nevada, again, the NABF title was on the line. After being inactive professionally for over a year and losing the undisputed heavyweight title to Ali in a Rumble in the Jungle, George Foreman announced in October 75 that his comeback bout would become against heavyweight contender Ron Lyle, though a site and date was not announced at the time. 2 months later, it was made official that the fight would occur on January 24th, 76, at the Caesars Palace in Las Vegas Valley. Now, Lyle had been highly active in 75, first losing to fellow contender Jimmy Young, who later bet Foreman in February, then failing his bid to join Ali for the heavyweight title in May, but then rebounded to knock out another heavyweight contender, Ernie Shavers, in September to set up a fight against Foreman. However, despite Lyle's inactivity and Foreman's 15-month hiatus, Foreman was installed as the 5-1 favorite. Complying with the Nevada State Athletic Commission rules at the time, the fight was judged in a 5-point must system rather than the traditional 10-point must system. Foreman prepared for his fight with Lyle by participating in the exhibition bout against fellow Houston native and prospect Jody Ballard at the Concord Resort Hotel located in Keamesha Lake, New York on November 26, 75. Foreman won the bout via second round technical knockout. Now entering the match, Big George Foreman, the native of Houston, got paid $250,000 up front, entered with a 41 record with 37 KOs. The 27-year-old was 6'3", weighed in at 226. At the time, he was the ring's number 4 ranked heavyweight, and of course the former undisputed champion. Lyle, the native of Colorado in Denver, made $140,000, and despite spending many years in jail prior to his getting out and being a contender, he had a strong record of 31-3-1. The 34-year-old, 6'3", 220, orthodox just like Foreman, number 5 ranked heavyweight. Now, the opening of the match, there wasn't any technical aspects to it. The two battlers engaged in an exciting back-and-forth slugfest, with both fighters landing heavy blows on one another and each scoring a knockdown in the bout. Lyle took an early lead when he landed a huge right hand flush late in the first round that stunned George, who in turn clinched Lyle in order to survive the round. Foreman rebounded in the second, hurting Lyle towards the end of the round with a left and then pinning up against the ropes, and then the corner while he landed several blows to Lyle, who was dazed. However, the round was ended after 2 minutes when timekeeper John Worth erroneously rang the bell. Worth admitted that he'd stopped the round a minute early because he'd been following the malfunctioning timer used by ABC, which was broadcasting the event, rather than the official time. Foreman had another strong round in the third, once again backing Lyle into a corner for the majority of the stanza, and peppering him with his left jab and combinations to the head and body. So this was getting to be, like I said, a slugfest from start to finish. Now, in the fourth round, Lyle came out aggressively and scored the fight's first knockdown after catching Foreman with a right-left combination, though Foreman got back up quickly and continued the fight. Having recovered from the knockdown, Foreman traded blows with Lyle in the center of the ring, eventually sending Ron down on his back with a right hand. Lyle was able to get back up at the count of 4 and continued the round, which had around a minute left. Foreman had a clearly tired Lyle back against the ropes as he landed several blows to Lyle's head until a recovered Lyle fought back to the center of the ring and sent Foreman down a second time with a left hook with just 2 seconds remaining in the stanza. Now, winning the round over, but still needing to answer the referee's 10 count, Foreman got back up at the count of 6. Picking up where he left off in the fifth, Lyle staggered Foreman with left hand early in the round and Foreman on wobbly legs, though he was able to stay upright. Now, we don't know why Foreman was having such a hard time in his defense against Lyle, because he would be strong. But just like Ernie Shavers against Lyle, Shavers tried to knock him out and it came back to haunt him. Now, Again, when the two fighters traded heavy blows before Foreman was once again able to back Lyle into a corner, landing an unanswered barrage of punches that sent Lyle's down face first on the canvas. Lyle was only able to get back up on his knees, and he was counted out, giving Foreman the knockout victory at 2:28 of the round. Now, the fight was named the Ring Magazine's Fight of the Year for 76. Rounds 4 and 5 of the bout shared the Ring Magazine's award for Round of the Year, and to date, it is the only fight to have 2 rounds share the award. So it's like this, ladies and gentlemen. It gave credibility to the North American Boxing Federation title, because at the time there was various pretenders that held the belt. But George Foreman, I think he was not motivated. Besides anything else, the purse. I don't think he took Ron Lyle seriously. Now, as for Ron Lyle, I mean, holy frig, ladies and gentlemen, the brutal fight kind of stand as a cautionary tale. Where Lyle at the time, again, nobody took him seriously, and even though he got knocked out, he got more fans than he had in his victory against Ernie Shavers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what Ron Lyle was, he was kind of a bizarre situation. And about the Lyle situation, this is a direct quote from George Foreman. Now, no one beyond Sonny Liston ever stood up to me. Everybody would have to run, hide, cover up. No one stood up to me. But Ron Lyle decided I ain't run, and he hit me so hard it didn't even hurt. There were those on the canvas thinking, what excuse could I have now? I had to get up. But when I got up, he knocked me down again. He bet me so bad, after a while he fainted, and I won the fight. That was the most memorable fight I had, because I kept thinking, why am I here? Now, following the loss to Lyle, Foreman basically said he won due to Lyle's exhaustion. Well, I mean, that's possible, but he took some hard bouts. Now, Lyle scored impressive victories over rated Jose Luis Garcia and big names Oscar Bonavita and Ernie Shavers during his career, of course. And he also won a split decision over world-ranked Joe Bugner. Now, according to George Foreman, Lyle was one of the 3 hardest punchers he ever faced, including Jerry Cooney and the great Cleveland Williams. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you look back at 1976, a great year for sports, but what a way to start off the bicentennial year, to see fireworks in the ring from a former champion and someone who would have stayed around for a few more years. He could easily bet Ken Norton for the WBC crown. And I think Larry Holmes, Ron Lyle in their prime would have been tremendous as well. So that's the story of George Foreman, KO5, Ron Lyle. If you like what they're doing here, where the Inside the Ropes columns, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, George Foreman's once said to a member of the Canadian media, you got to punch to win. And they were trying for victory, both of them. It just happened, Foreman had 6 thunderous hits to Lyle's 5. So Foreman gave 6 to receive 5, and I think Foreman lasted because maybe his cardio was just that better. Thanks for listening, and have a great pre-election week in Canada.